Hey friends, Elance here with a new episode of Elance Do It Yourself. So today we are going to turn our focus back on some of the projects that we have been doing outside. And if you have been with me, you know that the last 3 weeks, we did some project inside. So now we're going to turn back our focus on the video series that we started on in our backyard. So at this point we have already built, we have planted some trees, we have built a retaining wall garden around the trees, we have turned a vegetable garden into a flower garden, and we are planning to build a pond sometimes next year. And today we are going to build a pergola. So this is it on the image. So we are going to build this pergola in our backyard. So to start this project, the very first thing you want to do is to go to your building department and get a permit. So you need to check with your county where you live, go to the Department of Building and make sure that you get all the paperwork that you need. And also you may want to check, or you must check with your homeowner association if you have one, and get approval. So once you have those two papers, you can go ahead and start your work. So I went ahead and I got my permit. It was very straightforward. I went to the building department, I told them what I want to do. I didn't have the plan, so I sketched a plan right there, and they were very nice and they accepted the plan, the dimension and everything. I had that in mind. So those are something that you want to plan ahead. So I was not sure exactly the process. It was my first time going there, so I had some few notes and I wasn't sure exactly how to do that. So I went there and I lay down, or I draw how it's going to look like, the dimension, and what is going to be built on my house with the plan of the house. And they gave me the permit right there the same day. They provided me the permit, and I pay the necessary fee to obtain it, and then I used that permit to submit it to my homeowner association for approval. And having that permit from the county made it very easy to get also the necessary approval from the homeowner association. So those are the two things you want to start with. So once you have that clear out, you want to go ahead now and dig the holes for the pergola that you are going to use. And also, to obtain a permit, you need to know what kind of post you are going to use. Is it a 4x4? Is it a 6x6? So depending on the dimension of your pergola, you need, there are some requirements that you need to meet there. So for my case, I'm building a 10x15 pergola, square foot pergola. So I'm going to be building with using a 6x6 post, and the height of the pergola is around 12 feet high. So 12 feet high from the ground. So now you have to, based on the permit requirement, I have to dig the ground to be 24 inch deep. And if I'm going to dig a round hole, it needs to be 20 feet round. So the diameter has to be 20 inch round. So those are the two things, depending on where you are planning to build that pergola. So in my case, since the pergola is going to be closer than 5 feet away from the foundation of the house, so they had me dig the hole, all the way to the ground, to the basement, to the foundation level. So they said it has to be on an undisturbed soil. So it was very painful, and this is the ground, this is the hole, and the hole itself, it's close to 9 feet. Yes, close to 9 feet, the hole for that pergola, close to 9 feet. So these are the tools that I used to dig this hole, and I had to get a lot of mud out, and that mud I was able to use that to build a retaining wall garden with it, to fill the retaining wall garden that I built with this retaining wall that you can see right here. So I used that mud and transfer it there. It was very painful, and I failed the inspection like 3 times. I failed the inspection 3 times because they came and they said it's not yet on undisturbed soil, so I had to dig it again and call them. But for the last time, for I think also there was some the way for my county, right, in Virginia, it's a little bit unclear because the requirements for the pergola is the same requirement for the deck. So the requirement is the same requirement for the deck, yet the deck, there's going to be human activity on the deck, meaning a lot of people on the deck will cause the deck to sink. But the pergola, once you set your post, there's no human activity, so there's no weight to be applied on a pergola that will make it to sink. So when they made me fail the second time, I was not happy about it, and based on the initial reaction that I got from the first inspector, I didn't have to dig that all the way to the ground, to the foundation of the house. All he wanted me to do was to make sure that it's 24-inch deep and 20-inch wide. I didn't meet that requirement the first time when the first inspector came, but the rest of the inspector, when they came, it was a complete different story. So I missed the first opportunity. They had me dig all the way to the foundation of the house. So when they failed me the second time and the third time, I sent out an email to the inspector on the third time. I say, hey, look, I understand you have to go by the book, and I just don't believe that the pergola is the same thing as the deck, because here you're inspecting my pergola hole based on the deck requirement, but once you build a pergola, there's not going to be human activity on it, and it's just going to be, once it's built, right? And yes, I want to make sure it's very sturdy, very solid, nothing going to shake it off, but it's just not the deck. I said, please review this again. I just don't believe I should be having that much hard time about this. So it was a very polite email, and very compelling to really look into the situation. And he replied back and he said, okay, I'm going to discuss this with my supervisor. So he went ahead and he discussed the case with his supervisor, and then he sent me an email. He said, okay, since it was raining that week, he just said, okay, just make sure there's no water in the hole. I'll stop by tomorrow morning, and I will review it, and you'll be good to go. So I did that. I made sure there was no water in the hole. He came back, he inspected the hole again. He gave me an inspection right there. So those are some of the things that you want to check, especially when you encounter a situation like that. Right, so that being said, so this is the holes. These are how it looks like, and I had to dig it 9 feet down. The two that are close to the foundation of the house, and the two that are away from the foundation of the house are just 24-inch deep and 20-inch wide. I didn't have to do anything else there. So those two didn't have any problem with inspection. So the two that were near the foundation of the house, those are the two that I had hard time with. And it was very easy also to dig it out, because the mud that was there was filled when the house was built. So, and it had to be run over by the engine to make it sit. So it wasn't really hard to dig that, given also that it was raining that week. The soil was really moist, and it wasn't that hard to dig, but still it was a lot of work. And yeah, so I had to build it like I'm building a house. So you see this rebar, so I use this rebar to build the post, to build a post. So, and I, to be put in this hole, and I started here by, pouring down some gravel. So with that, it will give me a solid base. Now I have my rebar post in, and I'm going to log it in with this lumber 2x6 lumber that I joined together. So I'm just going to grab that in, and that will hold my post in place and also reduce some of the volume of concrete that I was supposed to be poured in there. So I went ahead and I locked that in place, and as I move along, I will create more gap, more space around that concrete, around that rebar post. So this project was very interesting. One of the funny part about this project is that this concrete mix that you see me pouring here in the wheelbarrow is supposed to be mixed concrete, but it's not. It's just sand, no concrete on it. You can see how bright it looks like. So mixed concrete will look a little bit darker than that. So I pour on some water on it, and nothing happened. The water just sinking, like just like you expect water to sink in on the sand. As you can see me there wondering. Funny part here is that I had 6 bags of mixed concrete that were just pure sand that I got from Lowe's, and I took it to Lowe's and presented it to the customer service and said, hey, this is the bags of supposedly mixed concrete, and it just came out plain sand. And they said, no, it's supposed to be mixed concrete. I said, yes, it's supposed to be mixed concrete, but it's not. So they acted as if I was lying, as if I went home and I got some sand and I put in a bag and brought it back to the store to get a refund. I was really upset about it, and yeah, that was really unfortunate. So and they did not refund me the entire amount that I paid for the 6 bags that were just pure sand. So they refunded me for 4, and they said they're not supposed to refund since it was open. I said, yeah, I mean, how would I know that it's not mixed concrete if I don't open it? And they said, oh no, you should have just returned it and you should not have opened it anymore. I'm like, okay. I bought 42 bags of mixed concrete. Out of the 42 bags, I got 6 bags that was just pure sand. So are you telling me that I should have just packed all the 46 bags and bring it back to the store? That was so nonsense, and I was really vexed about it, and it was a really bad customer service. And Lowe's is one of my favorite places to shop, and I was very disappointed the way they treated me, as if I was lying. And on top of that, they didn't refund it. They didn't refund my whole money. This is it, you can see, just pure sand, and that was really unfortunate.
At all.
That was really unfortunate. So yeah, so anyway, so I even got my phone, and I got some picture of it as I pour in some water on it, just to make sure that I have for the evidence of what I'm talking about when I go to the store. But even with this evidence, they were treating me as if I was lying. and the manager was not in the store. So the associate called the manager, and the manager said, yeah, just go ahead and refund him for fuel, and yeah, you know, it's nothing more we can do about it. I was like, okay, really? Yeah, so I had to just pour all this sand on the side, and went ahead and opened other box, and then some of them were good, and I used those to build my post. So after building the two posts that are near the foundation of the house, I realized that the position of my post were not, in the right position. It was too far away from the, the, the position that I wanted to have. I just didn't have it, so it wasn't part of the plan to bend all this rebar and dig that hole to lay additional concrete there. So I just did that, and then with that I was able to just bring my post base a little bit closer to the foundation of the house, and to have a better dimension for my pergola. Alright, so I'm just going to pour this concrete in and then level everything up, and that will do it, and still that will give me very it's still in line with the inspection, and it still meet all the requirements. So I just went ahead and mix all those concrete and then pour those in, and level everything up. All right. So here I just chose to put the anchor on the concrete before it dries up. So I did that on this section and on the other end, but for this end I didn't do that, so I had to drill a hole here to put the anchor in, and it was very hard to do that. It was very hard to drill that, and I was very happy that the two other ones I did it before the concrete dries up. So the bolt for the anchor, it's about 4 inch or 4 or 6 inches. I don't remember. So I had to grade that about 6 inches and then put that in the ground and lock it down. So here I'm just going to make sure that all my joints are secure and that everything is holding very strong to the ground. Making sure on this one as well. I'm going to tidy it up and do the same on this last one. Alright, so with that, it's ready to have the post sit on it. So these are the posts. I got a 6x6 post, and I'm just going to sand it out and then pan it, and that will be ready to be placed or it's supposed to be. Alright, so now that we have that sanded, I went ahead and painted it out. So initially I wanted to build the pergola with this color, and my wife didn't like it. She didn't like it much, so we ended up doing it white. Now that we have all this painted, we are just going to space it out and let it dry while we work on other pieces. So we're just going to do the same here. We're going to sand everything and paint it out. So same process. So now that the first pieces have dried up, it's time to just go ahead and apply the white paint on it. So this paint, both of them, they have prime, so that is going to protect the post, and also since it's going to be exposed outside, it's a paint appropriate for inside and outside. So you want to check the specification of the paint before you buy any paint for any of your project. You need to make sure that it's for the right destination. Alright, so now I'm just going to put this anchor in place. Those are the first anchor that will be holding the crevice that I will have on top of the pergola. So those will join all the posts together. So yeah, so another lumber will just sit on that anchor and just to hold everything up. And yeah, so I would just do that before I put this post up, because it's very high, and once it's up it's not easy to manage it anymore. So here I just use my wheelbarrow to carry this here, and with that I just put it in a position where it will be easy for me to just bend it down and do some maneuver and have it sit on the 6x6 anchor that I have secure on the concrete. Alright, so just turning it around to make sure that the anchor that I have here is facing the right direction. So now I can go ahead and apply all my strength on this to lift this up and to put it in place. You see, I'm just doing some movement on the base there to make it sit on that anchor that I have on the ground. So with that, I'll just lift it up a little bit and make it sit, and voila, it is in place. And it was a little bit farther behind, so I use this lumber to just push it out, and now it's good, it's in place. And I'm just going to leverage this lumber and use the the handgun and lock it in place so that it can hold that post. And now that it's holding, I can just go ahead and put all the screw or the nails that I need to put on the bottom for the anchor to hold it definitively in place. Hey, voila, I have all the posts in place, and here I'm just going to give some shape to the end of the all those ramps that will be on top of the pergola. So I just draw this by hand with a pencil. So once I did that and I had one cut out, I just use that first one as the template to cut all the rest. That's very easy. You just have to draw a shape that you like and have a template and just follow it. Now I'm going to just sand it out. So once you sand it, I will just go ahead and paint it white again and let it dry, and then carry it over to the pergola. So once you have chose the color of your pergola, you want to go ahead and make sure you paint everything or the pieces when they are sealed down, because once you build it and it's up there, it won't be as easy as this to paint it. So you want to make sure you just paint everything on the floor like I did here. So I have all my pieces painted out. So now I'm just going to do all the last cut that I need to make on this and put it up. Alright, now it's time to put it up, and I'm going to just leverage the anchor that I previously put on a post. So with that, it's easy to just put one end on the anchor and just use the ladder to put the other end. So we are going to just repeat this process on all the posts, and we will have everything in place. So for on each of those two posts, I will have 2 of those runs on it, and then I'll have the other 2x8 lumber, 2x8x16 lumber in the other direction. Here is not getting in correct as I want. It's hard to get in. It's too close. Alright, let's see if I can get it done. Oops. And thank God, I didn't hurt myself here. Alright, so here I'm just going to go ahead and fasten all this in place and making sure that it's level, and I'm going to remove the wire, the rod that I used there to pull it away to make it level. So here, since I'm working by myself, I'm going to use all the means that I can to make things level. So I use this lumber to just knock the lumber down so that it can push the other piece away to level it up and to be to the position that I want it to be, and then just fasten it with deck screw. So once everything is fastened in place, I can now go ahead and take this out and move to the other side. Alright, so again here I think I just temporarily fastened some, so now I'm just going to do the rest and that's it. So here I'm just going to use my right angle meter and making sure that I mark it to the position that I want the anchor to be. So with that anchor that I just attached on this post, it's going to hold this piece of lumber on this end, and I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing, put it on the other end and use my nail gun to just lock it in place, and then put the anchor on that side to hold it in place. And then once I've done that, now it's time to just on this side it was just holding, so now here I'm going to use this, I'm going to leverage this 2x16 2x6x16 to level this post. Once that's done, now it's time to put the second level on top. So we are going to put all those runs on top, and you can see that I went ahead and I performed 2-inch cut, 2-inch by, I think it's 2x4, so 2-inch the size, the width of the 2x6x16 that I have up there. And now I just cut it to the dimension. I just made those two cut to match the 2 runs that I have on the other direction. So now we are just going to set everything in place and just turn it over and make it sit in right there. So yeah, working alone, you have to think of things that can help you to do things that somebody else will be there, will be helping you with if you had another one, if you had someone helping. So yeah, so now we are going to fasten this in place, and to fasten that in place I use this right angle I use those right angle joint to lock those in place. So I did that on all those runs on both sides. So these are the last part. These are the pieces that I'm going to put on top of the pergola. I painted it down, and now I'm here just setting everything in place, and unfortunately I don't have all the video of how I was doing that part. So everything done, it's time to just have a final touch on it, sand every that was scratch, and then after everything is sanded, you can just go ahead and give it a very last coat of paint. So that's a finishing part, and we, having painted that down, it was just easy to have a last touch here to make it stand out. So here I'm grading again the foundation, because I realized that the 6x6 anchor that I have on the post wasn't strong enough to hold all those posts and the pergola in place. So I decided to just drill some hole there and use some pieces of rebar to lock it in place. So I'm going to just cut this, put that in that hole that I just drilled, and once that is in place, I'm going to drill some holes on the post itself and then join all those together. So we are going to drill on this crease side. This is the last one, so we are going to drill here, and once that's done, I'm just going to join everything together. And you see everything has been joined together here, and we have our frame there for the to pour in the concrete. So we are going to pour concrete in there to just hold that base very solid. So with this, after doing this, everything was in place, very solid, and no shaking. So yeah, so if you want to do this, it's not a good idea to use the anchor to hold all the posts. It's not going to be strong enough to hold that. Alright, so now that we have that, we're just going to level this and make it flat, and this is the final product. This is how it looks like, and this is how it looks like at night. I went ahead and I put some light, and very bright, and I love it. So hope you do too. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video where we will be building a patio underneath this pergola. Alright friends, see you in the next video, and thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.